Hello, Math A students. I wanted to go through this welcome letter with you. So if you can only listen and you don't have time to read the letter, you'll still be able to get all the information. So I wanted to welcome you to the class and know that I'm excited about helping you learn algebra. If you haven't worked on math online before, you'll notice that you are going to be doing a lot of the work, but I will be very available to facilitate your learning. That's my job. So the students who are the most likely to succeed in an online math course are the ones who are committed to keeping up with the schedule. Don't fall behind. You're willing to ask questions. I'm here to answer questions. I love answering questions. And if you have some familiarity with the content, it really helps, especially at the summer pace that we'll be going. So if you've never had any algebra course before, this may not be the best choice and it may just be very discouraging and overly difficult. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that so that you can make a good decision. So to have the best chance for success, you really need to get started right away. So I'm sending you the materials almost a week early so that you can get started early. If you were taking the course in a classroom, you'd be expected to spend 8 hours per week in class and at least 16 hours a week outside of class doing homework. So that's the average amount of time for an average student to get an average grade, and you may need to adjust accordingly. I know that I'm kind of slow, so I would budget at least 20 hours a week for my homework because I know it takes me longer. Do you have at least 24 hours a week in your time budget for this class? If you don't, you may really want to reconsider your choice. It really does take most students this much time. So if you're already enrolled in the class, that's one group of you. You'll find a checklist below and you need to finish everything on the checklist before the second Tuesday of the class, June 20th at midnight, in order to stay in the class. This is just so I can tell who's actually working and who's not, because we are required to drop students who are not active in the class. So if you're enrolled and you don't complete all of the items on the checklist, I'll think that you want to be dropped from the class and I'll take care of that for you. If that's not what you wanted, it is possible for you to be reinstated, but you'll have to contact me so we can talk about how that would happen. So there's three groups of students basically: those who are enrolled in the Sierra College course, those who are on the wait list, and those who are not on the wait list. So if you're on the wait list, or not on the wait list, but you're wanting to add, you will also need to complete all of the requirements in the checklist so that you can get an add code. I will give add codes to every student who completes all of the requirements of the checklist. If you're not on the wait list and you're hoping to add, there's one more requirement. You have to show me that you've met the prerequisite for the class. So I only send add codes if you send me that proof and a screenshot of your My Sierra transcript or of your assessment results will work. You don't need something formal. If you don't complete the requirements for receiving an add code and you purchased your software access online, you can get a refund from the company. If you purchase through the bookstore and you've opened the packaging for the access code, they don't give refunds. So it's possible you might be able to sell it on the secondhand market or something like that, but the bookstore won't take it back. So please note that all of my deadlines are always 11:59 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, since we're on daylight time right now. So regardless of where you are, we're on Pacific Daylight Time and the deadlines are always 11:59 p.m. so you can count on that. So here is the checklist on page 3 of the letter. These are the things that need to be completed before the second Tuesday of the class, June 20th. If you want to stay in the class or if you want an add code. These are the same checklist items for everyone. So number 1 is to purchase access for the MyMathLab software. It's available at the campus bookstore where it's bundled with a loose leaf version of the textbook, and that's my strong preference. I sent you a little video about how to order from the bookstore and mentioned that it's about $100 for the software access and about $30 for the soft cover textbook. So you don't have to have a separate textbook, but I strongly recommend that you do. In the software is a digital copy of the book, so it is available to you, but most students tell me that it's not very easy to work with. So if something changes within the first 2 weeks of class and you purchased your access online, you can get a refund from the Pearson Company, but keep in mind that the bookstore doesn't give refunds once you've opened the packaging. If you don't have money to pay for the software right away, don't let that stop you from getting started. There's an option for 14 days of free temporary access. When you're registering for the course on the MyMathLab website, at the bottom of the registration screen where they ask for payment, you may have to scroll down if you're on a small screen, but there's an option for 14 days of free temporary access. So if you're not going to be able to pay for the software access right away, please use this option and get started right away. If you've used MyMathLab before, you already have an account, and you need to use the same username and password as you've used previously. If you've used MyMathLab for Math A in the past, you don't have to purchase access again. You should be able to just access the course again using your same username and password, but if you have any trouble with this, just let me know and I can assist with that. So the next thing you need to do is register for the course in MyMathLab, and there's a course ID that you need, and it's Hill, my last name, Hill 13232. This gives you access to the software so you can get started, but it doesn't enroll you in the Sierra College course. You have to be enrolled in 2 places, the Sierra College course and in the MyMathLab software. So there will be a MyMathLab instructions sheet that I send you, and that walks you through the detailed step-by-step of how to get signed up for the course. If you're registering in MyMathLab for the first time, please enter your name with the first name and last name with a capitalized first letter and the other letters not capitalized. This might seem like a small thing, but it has to do with the way MyMathLab alphabetizes on my side. And if you use all lowercase, it puts all those names at the end and not in alphabetical order with the rest of the names. So if you haven't already registered, please use this protocol. And please type very carefully. It's practically impossible to change this afterwards, and so I keep seeing your name incorrectly. I had somebody this past semester who was Diane, but she was Dina for the whole semester because she mistyped her name, and it's really hard to change. So just be really careful with that. Please use an email address in your profile that you check regularly. If you haven't used MyMathLab for a while and you're returning to it, please check the email address that you've put in your profile. That's where emails that I send to you will go. I use Canvas a lot also, but it's much easier for me to send you messages through MyMathLab, and I send messages pretty much every day, especially at the beginning, and then less as you get established and get a routine and you're getting your work done. If you use your Sierra College student email address that everybody has, please make sure you include the word student. That's the most common mistake that students forget, that it's at student.sierracollege.edu. So just make sure you get the word student in there so that I can contact you. So the 5th thing you'll need to do is to complete at least 70% of each section of homework for Chapter 1. I want you to get Chapter 1 done right away because that is all review material, and then that gives us more time to work on the things that will be new for some of you. So see the MyMathLab instruction sheet for the details on how to get started doing homework if you haven't used MyMathLab before. So then, number 6, I want you to take quiz 1 in MyMathLab and score at least 70%. And you also need to take quiz 2 and score at least 70%. You'll see the due dates in MyMathLab. Quiz 1 is due Friday, June 16th, and quiz 2 is due Monday, June 19th. So you need to get those done before the 20th anyway. And then I want you to click on button 7, and I will give you a detailed walkthrough of MyMathLab so you'll see where that button is, but that's the discussion board button. And I want you to go to the discussion board and post your introduction to the class. Give yourself a few minutes to get that done because for some people it takes them a little while to figure out how to navigate in the discussion board. So the last thing I need for you to do is to send me an email letting me know you want to be in the course, and I'm asking you for this following information. This really helps me get started in the course with you. So I need your full name. Your full name, please, as it appears in your My Sierra account. Occasionally people have gotten married or they go by a nickname, or it makes it hard for me to find them in my roster. So please tell me the name that you're using in the roster, especially if it's different from the one that's in my math lab. So the next thing I want you to do is find the learning aids that are available. So that's the reason I have this on here. I want you to pick button number 3 in my math lab, then pick chapter 1 section 1.1 using the pull down menus so you see how they work. Then I want you to click select all and then the find now button, and you will see all kinds of different learning aids show up. One of them is animation. So I want you to send me a list of all the different kinds of learning aids, and my goal here is that you will then know what learning aids are available and where to find them. So if you could send a very short autobiography of your math experience, that's very helpful. It gives me an idea of how I can be supportive and encouraging for you. It can just be a couple of sentences, anything that you want to share. I find often that college students have had math trauma in their past, and I would love to be able to help you get over that. The last thing I need, if you are not enrolled in the course or on the wait list, is again that proof that you've met the prerequisite. If you're enrolled or you're on the wait list, I already know you meet the prerequisite because the computer wouldn't let you sign up for the class if it didn't already know that. So if you haven't met the prerequisite, what happens is the ad code doesn't work. So I don't want to give ad codes if they're not going to work because I only get a certain small number of them. So I'm really looking forward to working with you. My contact information is here at the end of this letter, and let's get ready to get